guys, Tom from Inspiration Metalworks, and in this week's video we're going to take a look at what's going on in the shop. As you can see, there's some new toys. So if you haven't been following along on social media, needless to say, you've missed out. I post a lot more on Instagram than I do on YouTube these days, but I am still posting from time to time, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of posting regularly on YouTube. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to just kind of get reacquainted with one another, see what's going on, things like that. A couple weeks ago, I received some new machines, and they're still not fully up and running yet, guys. Sorry. I'd love to be like, hey, check this out, press a button and start going. As you can see, you know, well, I don't know if, yeah, you can see that. There's still stuff that needs to get set up. This is one heck of a project for me because I'm bringing in three-phase power to the building. It's taking longer to do with COVID and everything than planned. Just trying to find electricians, things like that. But we've got permits, everything's good to go. Duke Power, which is our local power company here, has already said 400 amps, three-phase power, gave the thumbs up, and we're ready to go. So we're just buttoning things up. But let's take a look real quick at getting this in. I just took, frankly, I was so involved in the process, I didn't have time to sit there with the camera and shoot video. I wish I did, but I didn't. I got a little bit of video for you, so let me throw a few clips in and we can talk about where we go from there.
On the top, 7 inches.
Unbolted from the skid. Ready to deliver it. Things come shipped on a custom-made steel skid. So, everything locks in place. Really very nice. Also, 1,000-pound skid.
Alright, so I'm standing at the brother right now. You can kind of see. There's the washion in place. But if I walk, sorry for the shaky cam. We've got, you know, a couple of feet here to go through. But there's a foot, basically, a foot and a half maybe. And that's only because I moved the table over. Yeah. Might need to move that around a little bit. And then, yeah, we needed space to be able to get the coolant tank in and out. So we had to go a little bit more than 3 feet. Not much, but a little.
Okay, so one really big thing that's obvious is I'm running out of space again. And that means we've got to move some things around, but I'm also going to, I'm gonna let some stuff go. But this is the view coming into the shop from the barn side of things. And we have chip conveyors that still haven't been put in the right place yet. The new power, if we go off to the right, actually where this is right now, the Tormach 440 used to live right here, and it is gone already. Where the flag's going to get moved. That's going to be the panel for the 3-phase. It's going to go there. You can see that fancy box there. That is a Renishaw box, because the new lathe is going to have, it has tool setters and things like that. So you can see we moved the Slant Pro over. It used to live down at the end here. So this is the lathe. It is a Huaqian Cutex 160A. It does run a FANUC control. Just a quick little view in here. I'm really excited about this guy. We also have the new Herco here. We've got a VM10i. I will do a whole lot more video on both of these machines in the near future. Working our way past that, across from the Herco, you can see we've got the Slant Pro. It's still in use. These two new machines are not functional yet. So the existing equipment still has to get the job done. So we've got a little cell here for the lathe set up. I just realized I took the car seat out of the truck today to deliver parts and didn't put it back in. Plasma cam still in use, right? I was cutting signs today for folks. As you can see, because I pulled the fan out. We've got the Brother still in use as well. Got a little mill set up here. 52 volumes of FANUC manuals. And then we've got my my area back here where I do my programming and stuff like that. So it is a little cramped. What's going to be for sale? Well, the Brother, for one, the TCS2A. It's a 2004 TCS2A. It is a great machine. It's not going to include those two vices on it. I will throw in a couple of vices. I've got some 4-inch dual station vices. But it is going to include all the tooling that I have. I've got about 20 BT30 holders. And if needed, it can also include that phase converter. Because obviously I'm not going to need it anymore with the 3-phase coming in. For right now, I think I'm going to hook that phase converter up to the Herco so I can at least get that thing going. I'm also going to let the Tormach go, let the Slant Pro go. This has been a great lathe. I use it for all kinds of stuff, as you can see. Actually, if I put the camera back down here so you don't have shaky cam so much. Well, let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see if I tilt it down. That is all steel shavings. Right, that's all off of this. I run a ton of steel on this. It's fine. I mean, everybody talks about the Tormachs only being good for aluminum and stuff like that, and it's not the case at all. This thing is it's a great machine. I just don't have space. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Need some cleaning up, but yeah. If I had more space, I would probably keep it because it is a great machine, and the PathPilot control is really easy to use. But I'll be letting this go as well. It does have the factory collet closer, the manual collet closer that came with it. That I did the homebrew auto closer setup, so you can just press the button on the control, and it's got a solenoid that turns things on and off and actuates it, relays, all that good stuff built in. Yeah, so both of these machines are going to be up for sale here shortly. Actually, and to be completely open, I've already got people asking about it. So if you are interested in these machines, you need to let me know right away, because they're not going to last. I think on the lathe, I'll probably let the Tormach go for about 14, and the Brother, I'd like to get 20 for the Brother, to be honest. And I'm just telling everybody up front, you know, what I'm looking for. But it's going to come with tooling, phase converter, a couple of vices, stuff like that. If you don't need it, you know, we can work on that. But anyways, like I said, there's a couple of people who've already contacted me about it. These things may be sold before you even see this video, so who knows. All right, so I've had quite a few people ask me why I got these machines, because if the machines I had were working, why spend the money? And there's a couple of things. So I needed, or actually I don't need new machines, right? I wanted new machines. I wanted to take the shop to a higher level than where we've been. One of the things that something like the Herco is going to do for me with probing and tool setting and things like that is going to speed my time to get a job out. I do a lot of manual work right now on the Brother. Works great, perfectly fine. And for repeat jobs, like what's set up in it right now are these GPS mounts that I've been running. Heck, I don't have to do much, right? I load the program, I press a button, and I go. Periodically, I'll touch off the tools again to make sure that everything is still in spec and, you know, to accommodate for wear. But for the most part, I don't have to do anything. But when I'm doing, this is a job shop, and when I'm doing multiple jobs quickly, I want to be able to just put a piece of, you know, stock in. If it's a little off, it's, you know, sizing, things like that, I want the machine to be able to handle that for me. And the Brother's a little too old to have a probe in it like that. It can do tool breakage detection, and it can have a tool setter. In fact, I have a little tool setter that I bought. A lot of the guys in the Facebook Brother group have done this, or at least a few guys have done this, where they bought a it's off eBay, but they bought a tool setter. I've got it sitting in the box. I just have never wired this thing up. And you know, it's one of those things where in order to stop and do it, it takes time. For the lathe, there's really not a comparison. The Slant Pro is a great prototyping lathe, great small batch product lathe. But if you guys, you know, I've shown in the past where I'm making more and more production parts with the lathe, and there's a product line that I make the parts for now. There's a good possibility as we're starting to look at the sales and things like that, that those numbers are going to go through the roof, and making 100 is not the same as making 10,000, right? And so I'm preparing. We'll call it a preparatory purchase in that sense. But I've also got other jobs that I'm doing, like the GPS mounts that I make and sell, these antennas for heavy equipment. Those things, when I first started making them, I thought I might make 12 a year. I'm making 12 a month at this point, and that's just growing. And it takes a lot of time to do some of these parts. By having machines that are a little more capable, that can, I think if I remember right, the Slant Pro is a 3 horsepower motor, and that's a 20 horsepower motor, if I remember right. You know, guys, that's just, they're not in the same class. There's a couple more tool holders. It's got a programmable tailstock in there. You know, there's all kinds of things that I can do that are that I can't do on the Slant Pro. Frankly, like I said, if I had more space, I would keep it. It is a great machine, and I highly recommend the Tormachs to folks all the time. It feels kind of weird. I've been a big Tormach proponent for many years, and that's the last one I have. They just came out with a new model, an 8L, a littler one. Actually, at the price point, it's a pretty compelling little lathe. I might consider it. Like I said, the control, PathPilot is such a good control. Yeah, so, you know, some of the neat things that we'll be able to go over. Oops, I tilted it, sorry. In the future, we've got this fancy new control. I get to show people the Herco control. This also means I'm having to learn a new control, but hey, we'll get there. Multiple screen. It's kind of a neat setup. And I've been really, really pleased with the support so far. The team just in general has been phenomenal. I'm really excited about this. My daughter was in here today helping me out, and she was looking at the control for the Huaqian, and she said, "Wow, there's a lot of buttons." Any of you who have looked at Fanuc controls know, hey, there's a lot of buttons. So I've got my hands full as I start to learn these new controls and things like that, but it's pretty exciting stuff. I've also had folks ask me a little bit more about why I haven't been making videos as often as I used to. So I do have over 300 videos on my channel, although not all of them are related to this, but it's pretty close. It's a couple of things. The first is that a lot of the stuff that I do lately can't be on camera. I have NDAs in place with certain companies that, you know, they just don't want their parts shown and shared with the world. So that limits what I can take content of. I've also been really growing the business, and frankly, I'm at a point where I probably could take it full time. And I've got some real thinking to do over the holidays to do I want to make that leap or not. I had a really sage piece of advice given to me a long time ago that said, you know, you make that leap when it's costing you money not to. And I think we're there. I think it's actually at that point. But it's just a matter of, is this really what I want to do full time? And you know, frankly, I think the answer is yes. But it's got to be something that the whole family is on board with. So, you know, we're having some discussions. But the fact that, you know, this commitment right here, these 2 new machines, is a pretty big deal. So I'm sure you'll see some new information out at some point in the future. Frankly, I could just as easily hire somebody and keep doing what I've been doing, and just have people running machines for me and things like that. That would take a lot of stress off as well. So it's more, what do you do? Which way do you go, right? And if I did hire somebody, I probably could shoot more video. If I hired a videographer or somebody to do some of these things, because right now I'm still the bottleneck. And I'm really focused on running my business. I love the new machines and things like that, but those purchases are there for a reason, right? There's parts that need to be made that are going to benefit from it. It's not because, hey, it's a cool new machine. I mean, there's a part of me that's the 12-year-old geeking out right now, like, yes, I got new stuff. Or like when I turned 16, I had my driver's license. It's like, all right, where are we going to go now? But ultimately, I have a business to run, and that's going to be the important part. So I expect to see more videos. I just might have to do sample parts that are representative of what I'm doing, and maybe not exactly the parts that I'm doing. All right, I'm going to try one more thing here too before we go. I have recently been doing work in materials I never thought I would work in. Sintered silicon carbide, for instance, super hard, right? I tried cutting this because I'm removing very small amounts of material on this part, and I thought, okay, well, you know, a good carbide end mill is going to be fine. And it just destroyed the end mill within, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. So then I went up to diamond grinding bits, and again, lasted about 30 seconds or so. Now I'm at some real specialty tools, and I wanted to see if I can show some of it. I don't know how well the GoPro is going to show it, but I'll try. And these things are not cheap, because these are polycrystalline diamond. But what's really interesting about the tools that I'm using for this is they put the teeth in, the cutting flutes, in by using laser. So they're actually doing pulses of laser. So let's see if we can get this to focus a little bit. I don't know how well it's going to show up or not. Yeah, it's not really showing up, but it's kind of a cool process. And what's interesting is, you know, I paid more for these tooling than I paid for my first car. But it's really cool stuff. If you guys are interested, take a look. It's 6C Tooling if you want to see more. They're also very active on, or 6C Tools, sorry. They're very active on Instagram, on social media. They've got some cool videos that you can see how, see them cutting some of this stuff. It's really it's just neat stuff. And I just want to, if I can, I will share some of that. Most of that project is one that I can't share. I know I've hinted at stuff just because I had to in order to find out what kind of tooling to use. Many thanks to folks who pointed me in the right direction. Ed Kramer, he was the one who first got me thinking about using diamond tooling. He was doing some work with monocrystalline diamond, so basically a single crystal. He sent me to Marv over at, oh, I guess he's at Kern, isn't he? I have to think about that. Marv sent me to Jens at 6C. He's in Zurich, in Switzerland. And they've been phenomenal. It's a very small group, but I tell you what, if you're doing any carbide cutting, things like that, they really are some just great people and willing to help out, which is one of the things that means a heck of a lot to me, because you know, when you're ignorant to a task of how you're going to accomplish that task, and you've got folks who are willing to share their wealth of knowledge, it goes a long way. So thanks again to those guys. And again, if I can show cutting of any of that stuff, I will definitely get that on camera. So let's wrap it up. This is a long video, sorry guys. But it's been a while since I put any content out, and I really wanted to get caught up a little bit. It's been a crazy year. COVID has made things challenging for everyone. Stay safe. I'm not going to preach. Just do the right things. I hope everyone is well. Thank you for continuing to watch and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed and you liked what you saw today, think about pressing that button. There will be more, trust me, especially once these things go. I would also like, throw it in the comments, would you be interested in hearing more about what it takes to get three-phase power or any of this stuff? You know, this journey has been interesting. I've gone from tiny little garage shop with, you know, effectively Harbor Freight equipment to, you know, some big boy machines here over the course of, I don't know, I guess it's been 8 years now, coming up on 8 years. So closer to 10 if you look at the manual machining and everything else. But yeah, it's been quite a ride. So I'm not sure if folks are interested in any of that, but yeah, I'd be glad to help. I know people reach out to me all the time, and I do my best to answer everyone. And so if you have any questions, comments, you know, let me know. And with that, have a wonderful Christmas, and I'll see you again soon.